even know if I was gonna make it. I've been under the weather. I think, wow, baby. I think some xenomorph kind of bug grabbed a hold of me and turned me upside down. And I gotta tell you, last few days I've been sick and it tore me a whole new asteroid. Anyway, here we are, and there's only one thing you can count on, and that's when the Clockenstein strikes 420.
And all is well.
Sure in hell is. Thank you to our timekeeper for today. It's happy to have you here in the Greenland, where you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows, baby. So, we want to welcome you back to today's traversity of the past to the return to the Perfumed Gardens with who else? Go on, guess. It's me. Get serious. I'm telling you, it's me, the Houdini, of pulling rabbits out of my hat. Nothing up my sleeve, and nothing here. Okay, did you know, this is a little factoid before we get jumping in, I'm sure many of you do, that this summer is the anniversary of the Doors meeting up in 1965, and they had their first gathering at Ray Manzarek's mom's garage. Bob, take me out for a drink with that one. Where does that, I mean, woo! Where does the time go to? It's 60 years. Okay. That's why you stop, because it's always at least 50 years ago, and it's happy to, what? I don't know, I kind of fumbled my mouth up on that. I don't know, it doesn't matter, does it? See, it's the drugs. It's the other drugs that are trying to make me better. Okay. Time tripping into that glorious time. We're going to start off in 1968 with a West Coast emulsion of rock mindset that's got a dab of airplane duo vocals sprung out of San Luis Obispo in Southern California in 1967. The dynamic duo this time are Lisa Gonzalez and a guy named Dave Riordan. Like as in Rodin, but it's Riordan. That's not even like Rodin. This seltzer and H2O helped with the others to use, let's see, driving organ. I mean, there's a serious amount of B3 and Farfisa on this. And
what's Farfisa?
It's a kind of a keyboard that was real popular in those days.
Oh, cool.
Yes, it's a real swinging sound. And a little knowledge passing along there. And there's some real slow burning fuzz banging right behind the vocals, baby. Oh yeah, before I need to edit anything, the name we are lacking so far is the Yankee Dollar. And here's a brainwave adjustment called Live and Let Live. So let's just see what condition your condition, my condition, any condition is in. What am I doing here today? Woo!
She's a child of orphan. Give the lady you can. She had plans but hold on. Don't expect too much too soon. The lady said to
Yeah, there ain't no expiration date on this bag of Funyuns. Don't look down. But I'm about to radiate your gutsies onto the clothesline. Here's another harbinger of sonics called Follow Your Dreams Way. We can retorque your lug nuts when we get back. Man, I could use some more medicine. I should have brought it with me. Hey, don't change the channel, Mary. Here's a look-see at the cover. The Yankee Dollar. And here's the Flippus Sideus. What label is this? I forgot. I like playing this record. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's on the Dot record label. Yes, I like this a lot. It's a really happening sound coming off this platter. I mean, it's not a punch you in the face kind of thing. It's really cool though. I mean, they with that particular song that we just played, on the flip side, there's a 6-minute banger that just trails off into a wow land. Anyway, mostly originals on this LP, but they did drag in 3 covers along the road. And that being said, you know, those are pretty good interpretations. This record is worthwhile seeking out. I mean, if you can find it, I'd grab it. It's a keeper. Okay, falling off the ladder next. Well, it's going to be me in about 2 seconds. Can you hang on while I toot my horn? I had to take a break there. You know, and whatever. Hey, let me tell you, falling off the ladder next, like I was talking about, it's a gathering of 45s that there's a prestigious pacemaker. No, that's not right. I didn't mean to say pacemaker. I meant to say pacemeter. I don't know what I was thinking. I think these things out before I get here, and then when I get here, I can't remember what the heck I was talking about. Anyway, there's a prodigious amount of 45s from the Sunset Strip era during that heavy scene in the mid-60s. The LP's called Take the Brain Train, woo-hoo, toot-toot, to the Third Eye. You gotta buy it just for that. I mean, and it's by this cat named Bob Mathis. He was, he did that whole Sunset Trip starting in like 62 or 61. He was a boxing manager. This guy's a jack of all trades, but he mastered some of them. Anyway, this recording span on this record is from 63 to 67. And like I was saying, the backstory here is Bob was a songwriter, he was a musician, he was a promoter, he was a publisher, he was an apartment manager. Wow, that's a good resume. Ad nauseum. So, just your well-rounded, roustabout interpreter, and not interpreter, an entrepreneur. Ha! Same, see, it came out better. Same racket as Cat Kim Fowley was, who went on to become a larger flash bomb than Bobby here. But, well, Bob saw the teens, his whole trip was, he saw the teens roving the strip, and the kids were all chasing the next new thing, and he just, you know, threw his lot with the rest of it, and there you go. There's 7 artists and 14 tracks played out on this platter. So I'm going to start with one of the better cuts that I really, wow, it's cooler, it's cooler. Our first send-up is some bongo bangers called The Brain Train. That is just too intense. I love it. It's, whoo. This rather, I guess I would say a rather hard charger I'm slipping onto the platter player is called Black Rose. And it starts off bopping the old brain drain in for a visit. Kind of like it's kind of like getting a cast iron skillet to the side of your head knocking. And that's pretty impressive. So, let's go for a twirly whirly, twirly twirly time. Well, that was a bit on the hectic side of things here. This is the record. There's a crappy, unlit photo on the front.
Oh my god.
Well, I can't figure it out. Anyway, and in the back is just as bad. There was no expense, and I mean no expense, on any of the packaging here. But let's talk about this a bit. You know, I can just, with that particular song, and then we'll talk about another one, I can see those go-go dancers working up a sweat to that one. they have no delusions about putting down the pedal to the floor. That particular break in the music is tearing my Jim Jams a new outlet. Woo. His next from this same LP was the Golden Willy Wonka ticket to his jackpot land. Well, that's what he thought he was going to get. Was a band called The Joint Effort. Maybe that's what I need. Oh, anyway, they met this said Svengali while, there's a great story. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. They met him while they were looking for an apartment in Bob's building of, you know, sort of like Bob's Burger, but it was an apartment building. And, and anyway, I don't know if they told him in their interview for looking at the apartment if they were a bunch of musicians and they were out there playing. And so, anyway, by 67, these boys were working with Bob, and they had landed opening spots for like the early Doors, because they were playing. They broke up before the Doors broke, and then they warmed up for the Starbring Alarm Clock. And so here's their contribution called "The Children." Let's try and cure these particles of deeper meaning and meandering on vinyl. That one works for me, big time. Here's the deal. These guys were, you know, they were really a tight band from constantly playing every small club or hole-in-the-wall outlet that they could plug into, thanks to Bob. But they were mostly pizza joints and, you know, roller skating rinks and all that anyway. But they also did strip. I think they played Beatolitos and they may have played. They might have played at Pandora's Box. I mean, there was a list of. There is a. Oh, I should show you that. There's this, which once again, it just goes to show how much money they didn't spend on this. Now, if there's any way you can read that without a super casualistic frasoplastical microscope, then you're a better man than I, Junior Gungadin. Anyway, it goes on to talk about everybody on here for the most part. There's even a couple of songs that Bob did on here, but we won't go into that mess. Anyway, they did do a bunch of demos that were for a proposed LP, but nada. It never got off the starting blocks. You know, and that's the tale about all the 45s on this particular disc, because every one of them was on a different label. And, you know, talk about camera obscura. These cats are, wow. You would never know about these cats. I mean, but this is a good find if you're into those like really obscure bands that I like. So it was a good find for me, and it was cheap. Woohoo! Wonder why. Let's see. Oh, well, anyway, with that being said, we shall move on to the finale with one of those lost latitudinal garage adjusters from '66. This one is El Superbo. They were dredged up from the New Jersey shoreline, and that was in, I think, that was in '65. And at that time, here they, you're gonna love this name. They were called the Emeralds. Wow. I wonder if they asked their mom or dad for the name of a band. That's what they came up with. Well, anyway, they hit the locals over their heads, you know, dancing the night away, because they were really a popular local blowout. And then a cat by the name of Richard Tepp, I think it was Tepp, yeah, Richard Tepp. He saw these guys performing, and it was at a bowling alley or a pizza joint, and you know, he arm wrestled his way into the band, and then the name change was made to the Original Counts. Well, at least it ain't the Emeralds. So that's name change number 2. And that was not much better, but with some of those, with some of these names anyway, I don't know. I always came up with good names for the bands I was in, but that's just me. Beats the tar out of me. And that's a lot of beating. Their song repertoires was the usual Brit invasion influencing covers, you know, Animals, especially the Stones and the Yardbirds, you know, a lot of that R&B stuff. But what guided their fortune was the bad boy look, that they really got it together with the long hair and clothes that matched. So let's try that. With that, one more mercurial change of names to Richard and the Young Lions and Billy Bob, your uncle. They have a hit in the studio, Head On, and they gave us this hitski called Open Your Door. Hey, pizza for table... Pizza for table 12. Zowie, now that is a diorama from a singer, Rough Minstrels, with a belt sander voice and a fuzz bass player who admits the potential of a psychotic bulldozer in a strip ball. Let's look at the sleeve. I actually have the picture sleeve that it comes with. And the guy with the polka dot shirt, which is a killer shirt that I used to have, that's Richard. and it's on the Philips label. So, let's talk about this for a little bit. You know, it wasn't a national, a nationwide, I should say, hit, but it blew up the charts wherever it got released. You know, that's the story with a small amount of money to promote the label. It was low capacity, you know. I mean, what are you going to do? But when you've heard it, man, I mean, I dive deep into this stuff. This 45 is that lost vinyl cavern. I mean, well, here's a little sidebar. Richard Tepp passed away a couple years ago during the COVID thing. But prior to that, little Steven from the E Street Band heard this cat, and you know, he heard the old original stuff, and he pieced the band back together for him. And this band, and then Richard went into the studio, and there's 2 CDs that are out there, and they're both called Richard and the Young Lions, and I don't remember the actual titles. But I have heard some of the cuts off of them, and it's really good stuff. It really fits. Little Steven did a really good job. He did him some justice prior to his Mr. Tepp's demise. So anyway, let's see, where am I gonna go? Well, anyway, like I said, I had to dive deep to find that one. Oh yeah, here's another one that you can know. This 45 is also on Pebbles number 12, and it's also on that really, and I don't say nice things about CD boxes because, you know, I'm a snob. I mean, I had, I don't know, 500 or more CDs at one time. I gave most of them away, and I got all back into vinyl, and I already had what was left of my collection, but I had to sell a lot of it off years and years and years ago. Where am I going? I don't know. I'm always lost on the road somewhere. But anyway, you can also catch it on that. And I added it to my jukebox, and there you go. So, now the end is near, and I can see the final curtain. But what was that sound behind the screens for today? Well, let me get it. You can hear it. There's it. It's a band called Tully. Yeah. It's the soundtrack to the movie Sea of Joy, and it came out in '72. These guys are kind of an an avant-garde. Well, kind of aardvarky too, and they're proggy too. I think, you know, the movie, I don't know, did I mention the movie was a surf movie? It was a second movie from this director. It's a European guy, and I don't know what the Europeans know about surfing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend any European surfers. I know they do it up in Finland all the time, but it's on ice, and I think it's skating. Anyway, the record itself, it's a standalone piece. I don't think it breaks it down too much for the movie. I think it's better to listen to the whole thing at once when you've got a snorkel full of goods. So there you go with another Leaf and Liege hors d'oeuvre. Thanks for popping around. Always a pleasure to see you. It really is. Stay sane if you can, but stay the course. Just kill your TV and play lots of records. And until the twain shall meet, peace, love, and flowers, because we are all one, and man, just stay the course. And I hope to be much better by the time we meet again. Not mentally, but at least physically. Bye-bye.